Okay, I got it. Okay, welcome everyone. I'm calling it a happy hour yoga because happy Friday and Friday afternoon. I don't know what that means right now, but we'll just be happy with it and go ahead and go with it. So my name's Karen. I'll be guiding you through your practice. And the theme of today's practice is kind of a Casablanca inspired practice, and it's a sigh is just a sigh. So let's get started today in a child's pose. So coming onto all fours, taking the knees as wide as the mat with big toes touching. Beginning to shift the hips back over the heels and walking the hands out in front of the body. And placing the forehead on the mat. Let's start here with making any adjustments to the body. So if child's pose is something that you don't like, you're welcome to take another pose or perhaps adjust it by moving the knees in or the feet out a little bit. And see if you can get some length in the spine. Starting to notice the breath and how it feels as it flows through the back of the throat. And then taking an inhale and going with our theme, sigh it out, exhale. So we take those sighs, and sighs are so good for our lungs. We're just filling up all of the alveoli in our lungs and then blowing out that air. But what has been learned in the last couple of years is that sighs are not just a physical reset in the lungs, but also a reset for our emotions and for the brain. So after you've taken a few sighs, beginning to close the lips and notice how that changes the breath. As the inhale rolls over the back of the throat, into the lungs, and then the exhale. And I just encourage you to be in touch with the breath and move with your breath through the practice, knowing that you can adjust anything. I'm just here as a guide. And the nice thing with being on Zoom is no one will even know if you choose to do something else. See if you can push your hips back a little more with each exhale. And begin to move the forehead from side to side. And coming into stillness, bringing the hands to touch like a prayer position. And bending at the elbows and sending the thumbs to the back of the neck. Taking a couple breaths here. Bringing hands back onto the mat and walking the hands over to the right side of the mat, perhaps the left hand on top of the right, and sending the left hip toward the back of the mat. Gaining a slight stretch in your side and your left hip. Using your breath to sink a little deeper into the pose. Walking the hands back through center, taking that same movement on the other side. Right hand on left, pressing the hips back, and using your breath to go a little deeper in the stretch. Just encouraging you as you move through the practice today to just try small movements and see how a small adjustment changes the pose. Walking the hands back through center and coming to a tabletop position. Onto all fours, spreading the fingers out wide and pressing between the index finger and the thumb onto the earth. We'll start to hover the right knee, sending the sole of the right foot to the sky. So, like we can balance something. So it's happy hour. So we can balance a glass of wine on the sole of our right foot. And let's take 3 tiny pulses up and back. Again, really engaging the body. Second one and third. Taking the leg out to the side like a dog on a fire hydrant and kicking the right sole of foot toward the wall. We'll take 3 of those. Notice how if you lift your leg a little higher, it changes where you feel it. And sending your leg long behind you, toes on the earth, and beginning to rock forward and back. And then placing the right knee next to the left. We'll do that on the other side, letting the left sole of foot float up. We'll have our non-alcoholic option. We'll have kombucha on our left foot as we pulse 3 controlled pulses. Bringing the left knee out to the side and straightening the knee, taking 3 kicks to this side. Coming back through to center, extending the left leg long, toes on the earth, and going front to back of the mat, feeling that length in the hamstring. Placing the left knee on the earth next to the right, taking cow and cat. On the inhale, lift the gaze, drop the belly for a cow. And maybe you want to stay here for a round with an exhale and an inhale and start to wiggle the hips from side to side. And switch the gaze over each shoulder. Coming back through to center and taking a cat pose, arching the back, creating space in the back, gazing at the navel, and perhaps twisting. Coming back through to center, pressing the crown of the head forward, feeling length in the spine, and taking time to adjust to get that length. Taking cow and cat with your breath. Inhale to cow, exhale cat. Taking a few rounds on your own with your breath and adding any other movements that your body could use after a week of work. Take one last round of cow and cat, and we'll be moving into a downward facing dog, tucking under the toes, sending the hips up toward the sky. Let's take a deep bend in the left knee, sending the right heel toward the earth, and switching that bend in the right knee, left heel toward the earth, and beginning to alternate that. Feeling some length in the back of the leg. Perhaps bending both knees and then sending the hips high. Let the thigh bones come to the back of the space, the head hang heavy, feeling some length in the spine. Wanting that feeling of energy coming down through the back of the legs, that feeling of length. And then pausing here. Ragdoll will be next, walking the feet to the top of the mat. Feet are hip width apart, letting the head hang heavy. And perhaps trying a slight bend in the knees Just see how that feels. Beginning to sway if movement feels good. Letting your head hang heavy again. Interlacing the hands and placing them behind the head with the elbows out to either side. If that doesn't serve you, just release it. And as you exhale, dropping the hands to the earth, beginning to toe heel the feet together and come up one vertebra at a time all the way to a mountain pose, to Tadasana. So really feel the feet and the earth touching each other, and then get that feeling of length through the back of the hamstrings, up the spine, and just get the crown of the head a little bit taller toward the ceiling. We'll cactus the arms, lifting the chin, and get some chest opening. We'll inhale tall, and interlace the hands behind the back, and inhale, press the hands down, shoulders back. Release. Inhale, arms come overhead. And exhale, forward fold or swan dive down. Inhale is a half lift. Hands come to the shins or the thighs, or maybe your hands can touch the floor. Crown of head forward, spine long. Exhale, release, forward fold. Inhale, rise to a mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale is a half lift. Exhale, plant hands. Step back to a high plank pose. Spreading the fingers out wide. Pressing into the toes. Feeling the whole body engaged. Lowering yourself halfway down. Elbows come to the back of the space. Perhaps your knees come to the earth as well. Lower the body halfway down. Inhale, flip over onto the tops of the feet, lifting the chin and the chest for an upward facing dog, tucking under the toes, and coming back to a downward facing dog. So that movement, that high plank and low plank and heart opener can be skipped altogether if you'd like to just meet in a down dog. You can place your knees on the earth. You can do an extra push-up, or bring your belly all the way down to the earth and take a baby cobra. So lots of options. See, it really is happy hour. Taking an inhale here. On the exhale, travel to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant hands, step back. Go through your flow, high plank, low plank, inhale, up dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Know that you can always take a sigh, an open mouth sigh, and release that breath, and that's cooling and therapeutic. You can always come back and take a child's pose to reconnect with your breath. We'll move through this one breath per movement. On the inhale, gaze to the front of the mat. Exhale, travel, front of mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant hands. Move through your flow, high plank, low plank. Inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Last time through, inhale, gaze to the front of the mat. Exhale, travel. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant hands. Move through your flow, all meeting in a downward facing dog. If the breath gets choppy, finding a drishti or a focal point at the back of the mat to steady the breath. Pausing for the inhale and the exhale, travel to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, mountain. Exhale, sitting back into a chair pose. So in chair pose, we want our knees over our ankles or slightly behind. Our seat is sitting like we're sitting back on a low, like a kid's toddler chair behind us. Biceps can be next to your ears, or palms can touch at heart center. And then some small movements that may feel good is to make a little bit wider base with your feet. So breathing through any discomfort in this pose, knowing we're building some nice heat, and we're getting strong. Taking one more inhale here on the exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant hands. Go through your flow, high plank, low plank. Inhale to upward facing dog, and exhale, down dog. So pause here to reconnect with the breath, always moving with your own breath. On the inhale, lift the right leg. Exhale, step through and rise to a crescent lunge. So in crescent lunge, your back heel is lifted, pressing into the back toes, the ball of the left foot, and front knee is stacked over your ankle or behind it. Now, adjustments here, if you're really wobbly, you can try taking the feet a little wider, or you can drop the back knee to the earth. So crescent lunge gives us an opportunity to press the crown of the head tall, the top of our bodies like the mountain pose. Taking a power lunge next, holding the torso tall, over the right thigh, hands come to the back of the space, pressing the hands back to open up the shoulders. The next move is a big move. We're spiraling open to a warrior two. So spinning the back foot flat. So the back foot is parallel to the small edge of the mat. Hips are squared to the left side of the space. And gaze is over the front fingertips. Since it's our first warrior two, well, you can do it with any warrior two. You can bend and straighten the front knee and sink a little deeper into that pose, pressing into both feet. On the exhale, we'll take an extended side angle, right elbow and right thigh, left arm comes overhead. You can always take your bottom arm and get a little more core. Keeping in the lower body just as it is, we'll take a reverse warrior, left hand on left thigh, right arm overhead, getting that side body stretch on the right side. Breath should be even and steady. Maybe try gazing at the back foot if that helps. On the exhale, cartwheel the hands to frame the right foot steps back to meet left. Go through your flow, high plank, low plank, inhale to upward facing dog, and exhale down dog. Moving through that same series on the other side. On the inhale, lift the left leg, pointing the toes down. Exhale, step between the hands, and rise to a crescent lunge on this side. So same adjustments, knowing that it might be different on this side. Sometimes putting that knee down and feeling more supportive is just what your body needs. Gaining some tallness and length in the spine. Torso comes forward on the exhale, palms down and behind you for a power lunge. Breathing through it and taking our big move to a warrior two. So you should be facing the other side, really feeling that knife edge of the back foot pressing into the mat. And taking the left knee and just sending it a little more toward the pinky toe edge side. See if that helps engage the inner thigh. And if you don't like that suggestion, you can always move it back. Extended side angle is next. Getting the length through the right side of the body. Reverse warrior is next. Right hand and right thigh. Left arm comes overhead. Maybe playing with the gaze, going up or at the back foot. On the exhale, cartwheel the hands to frame the left foot. Left foot steps back to meet right. Go through your flow, meeting in a downward facing dog. We'll go through that again, 1 breath per movement. If my cues don't work for you, just please follow your own breath, because we'll all meet back here, and really on Zoom, no one will even know. Taking an inhale here on the exhale, travel to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, mountain. Exhale, coming into chair. Pause for the inhale on the exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant hands, step back, go through your flow, high plank, low plank. Inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, lifts the right. Exhale, step. Inhale, crescent. Exhale, power. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, extended. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, plant hands, step back, go through your flow, high plank. Inhale is upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, lifts left. Exhale, step. Inhale, crescent. Exhale, power. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, extended. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, cartwheel hands, step back, go through your flow, high plank, low plank. Inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Last time through, inhale the right leg. Exhale, step. Inhale, crescent. Exhale, power. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, extended. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, cartwheel hands, step back, go through your flow, high plank, low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, lifts the left. Exhale, step. Inhale, crescent. Exhale, power. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, extended. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, cartwheel the hands, step back, go through your flow, high plank, low plank. Inhale to upward facing dog, and exhale, down dog. If a sigh is what you need, that's what be. Go ahead and get that reset. Take the sigh, pedal out your feet, find a drishti. We'll take an inhale here. On the exhale, travel to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, mountain. And then bring our hands to our hips. We'll do a little bit of balance here. So press into the right foot and really feel the ball of the foot and both edges of the heel press. Press into the mat. And we'll start to hover the left foot off the earth, bending the left knee. And arms can come out like a letter T as we swing the left knee out to the left side for gate pose. You can play with your balance a little bit by moving the arms, bringing the knee back to center, hands on hips, and send the leg long. We'll be moving to an airplane pose or a warrior 3, but I just encourage you to use your core and not let momentum take your leg all the way back. So taking the left leg behind us, torso comes forward, toes are down, leg lifts. Arms can come behind us in that airplane pose, or you can bring your arms in front in the warrior 3. So balance, we just need to breathe. And we'll land in a crescent. So left toes come to the earth. And we're back at our crescent lunge. Taking those adjustments to steady it that you did or didn't do earlier by dropping the knee if that feels good. Hands come to touch. Palms come to heart center. Revolve Crescent is next. Leaning forward about 45 degrees. Taking the left elbow on the outside of the right leg. Pushing the leg and that arm into each other and gazes over the right shoulder. And see what those twisting poses do to the breath. And know that you can dial back the twist a little bit. Always an option to do that. On the exhale, back to center, releasing hands down to the mat. Step the right foot back to meet the left. We're taking a side plank here. Right hand to the center of the mat. Maybe about an inch or two toward the front of the mat as you spin over to the right edges of the feet and left arm lifts tall. Now you can take it here. You can drop the bottom knee and you can lift the top leg. You can take a couple pulses with the hips. And taking the left hand next to the right, coming back through, go through your flow, and then meet in a downward facing dog. Perhaps an open mouth size called for here. On the inhale, gaze to the front of the mat. Exhale, travel, front of mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, coming to that tall mountain pose. Dropping the right hand to the right thigh and taking the left hand over to the right wall. Opening up the left side of the body. Coming back through to center. Taking the cactus with the arms, opening the heart. Lifting tall and coming over to the left side with the right arm. Coming through to center, hands on hips, pressing the left foot into the mat, and then letting the right hover. Bending the right knee, arms can come to the sides, feel like a bird, and opening the right knee. You can use your hand to help, taking gate pose. Bringing the leg back through to center, extending the sole of the foot toward the front of the space. And using the core, sending the torso forward and leg back. Taking the airplane pose or warrior three arms, or maybe swimming between them. You can have prayer hands. And we'll land our right toes on the earth, but we'll be really quiet as we land the toes, coming to a tall crescent on this side, and adjusting the length of the crescent lunge. If the knee is going in front, always taking adjustments. Palms to touch at heart center, Revolve Crescent is next. Leaning forward, right elbow on outside of left knee. And you can open your wings here if that feels good, but just encourage you to prioritize the breath. Taking one last round of breath, dropping the hands onto the earth, sending the left foot back next to the right. Taking the side plank on the other side, left hand towards center, rolling over into the left edges of the feet, perhaps taking pulses. Dropping the right hand next to the left, going through your flow, high plank, low plank, Inhale to upward facing dog, and exhale, down dog. Taking a couple breaths here, or coming to a brief child's pose, if that's what your body's calling for. And then when you're done with the child's pose, you can join us wherever you are, either in the down dog or wherever we are. On the inhale, lift the right leg. Exhale, step between the hands, rising to a warrior one. So warrior one, the back foot is at about a 45-degree angle. There's a bend in the front knee, stacking the knee over the ankle. And you can always take a little bit longer stance and really lift and then settle into the pose. Pressing into both feet, our hips will be off center, and top of the body is like a mountain pose. Interlacing the hands behind the back, we'll take a humble warrior, pressing the hands back, opening the chest, and bowing forward with the head inside the right knee. Hands coming toward the ceiling. And if you don't like that, you can always grab opposite shoulders. Releasing the hands, coming back to a warrior one, and opening to a warrior two. So the back foot spins to 90. And you're a little warmer than when we were here before. So maybe your foot needs to move forward a little bit. And we'll take an extended side angle here, opening the left side of the body. Coming back to standing and starting to take triangle pose, bringing the right knee towards straight and maybe hopping the left foot in a little bit as we shift the hips to the back of the space, right arm forward, and right hand drops onto the shin or the earth as left arm comes overhead. So picture a helium balloon on your left fingers, just floating your left hand up, and that may cause your right hand to slide up a little bit, and that may give you more chest opening. Coming to standing to take a Pracitce. Right toes turn the same direction as the left. Inhale, lifting tall, and then fold forward at the waist. Dropping the hands to the earth, and perhaps trying to walk the hands back behind the body. And enjoying this rinse, I feel like this is a pose that makes us taller, and it definitely clears our minds. Dropping the hands onto the earth, turning the toes toward the front of the space, walking the hands there as well. Right foot steps back to meet left. Going through your flow, meeting us in a downward facing dog. We'll move through this on the other side. On the inhale, lift the left. Exhale, step. And on your inhale, rising to a warrior one on this side. So feel free to settle into the warrior one. And know that if it doesn't feel so good on your hips, a little bit wider warrior one may feel good. We'll interlace hands, trying the opposite interlace, pressing the shoulders down and back. Humble warrior is next, bowing the head, letting the hands float. Enjoying that reset of our head below the heart. Releasing the hands, rising back to a warrior one, spinning open to a warrior two. Adjusting in that warrior two, starting to settle in, feeling like someone's playing tug of war with the hands. We'll take an extended side angle next, sending our right arm toward the front of the space. See if you can spiral open the shoulder a little bit more. Coming back to standing, maybe jumping that right foot in a little bit closer. Left knee comes towards straight for a triangle on this side. Send the hips back and just reach forward with the left hand. When it can reach forward, no more dropping it onto the shin or a block or a water bottle, the floor, the thigh. Feeling that opening, like the body is between two panes of glass. Rising back to standing and turning the right toes to face the small edge of the mat. So toes are pointed toward the small edge of the mat. We'll take a goddess pose next. Hands can come to heart center, arms can be cactus, sinking down with the hips. See if you can take each exhale and go a little bit deeper. And maybe lift one heel, dropping a little lower, the other heel, perhaps both. Dropping the heels, taking a 5-pointed star, sending the arms tall, chin comes high, and then interlacing the hands behind the back, turning the toes to the right side of the room for another Pracitce. Hands interlaced, press the shoulders back, and then start to bow forward, letting the hands float toward the sky. If that doesn't work for you, just release it. You can take peace fingers onto big toes. Bend one knee and then the other. Dropping the hands in front of the face on the earth, walking the hands to the front, turning the toes to the front, sending the left leg back to meet right, going through your flow, meeting in a downward facing dog. This will be our last standing series. So on the inhale, lift the right leg. Exhale, step it between the hands and rise to a warrior one. We'll be taking a pyramid pose, so hands can come to the hips and jump the left foot in about halfway to your right foot. Lift tall, right knee comes towards straight and bend over at the waist. Careful not to lock the knee. Bowing the body forward, you can drop your hands to the earth or to the ankle. And with a micro adjustment, taking the right hip and sending it toward the back. See if that changes or makes a better stretch for you. Placing both hands on the mat on the inside of the right foot, jumping the left foot back, dropping left knee to the earth for a runner's lunge. Right foot can come out to the side of the mat, and you can come down to forearms here, or if you'd like to bring the right foot over to the pinky toe edge side and right hand pressing the leg away from the body, that might feel good as well. What we want is a nice stretch in our left front hip. This counteracts the sitting and standing that we do, and it should feel really nice. If it doesn't, I would just encourage you to make an adjustment, either coming up onto the taller arms or maybe trying a different version with the pinky toe edge side or opening the right knee. We'll tuck under the left toes, come back to tall arms, send the right foot back to meet the left. You can go through your flow if you'd still like a little more heat. And then join me in a downward facing dog. We'll move through that on the other side. So last side, last standing. So we'll make it good. Inhale, the left leg lifts. Exhale, step. Rising to a warrior one. Hands come on the hips. Jumping the right foot in about halfway for a pyramid pose. Left knee comes towards straight. Fold forward at the waist. Dropping the hands onto the ankle or the earth. Making that micro adjustment in the hip. Right hip coming forward. Left back. So a runner's lunge will be next. Dropping the hands on the inside of the left foot. Right foot steps back long. Dropping the right knee to the earth. And just adjusting that left foot up, forward, out to the side of the mat. You can play with the versions here. Coming onto the pinky toe edge side. Do more of a winged dragon. Or coming onto forearms. Coming back up onto tall arms, taking the left leg, having it meet the right, and coming into to our tabletop position. So however you need to get there, coming to the tabletop, taking a round of cow and cat here. Coming back through center, pressing the shoulders back and the head forward, we'll take thread the needle pose next. So lifting the right arm, sending that arm all the way underneath the body, right cheek comes to the earth. Left arm can move forward, or perhaps tucking the left forearm on the small of the back. So choosing your version. If you have moved the left hand, bringing it back underneath the left shoulder, coming out of the pose as we came in, lifting the right arm. Right hand goes next to the left. Let's take one more cow and cat to rinse that out. Sending the left arm tall, threading the needle on this side. And taking your version with your right hand that feels good for you on this side. Bringing the right hand underneath the shoulder, coming out of that. Taking one last round of cow and cat. Perhaps wiggling the hips to either side. And we'll be coming down to our bellies. So probably walking your hands in front, your knees back, and coming all the way down onto the belly. Untucking the toes, sending the arms long behind you, palms up. And either cheek can be on the mat. And see what you can just release here. Maybe the heels splay open. See if you can get the whole back side of the body to release. A sigh always feels good here. We'll be taking a baby cobra, bringing the chin back to center, hands underneath the shoulders, zipping the legs together, pressing into the tops of the feet. And as you inhale, lifting the chin and the chest. And just encourage you to breathe here. Sometimes we want to hold our breath here, but remembering to breathe. Perhaps hovering the hands off of the earth. Hands can come down to the earth, placing the opposite cheek on the mat, letting the legs splay open. And if you don't like your cheek on the mat, you can stack the hands and rest the chin there. It's always your option. We'll be taking a locust pose next. We'll call it locust with a twist. Bringing the chin back to center. Sending the arms behind you, clasping the hands, pressing the hands to the back of the space as you lift the chin, pressing the shoulders back, getting a little more chest opening. Your hands can hover or rest on your body. And then start to lift the legs as well, balancing on the pelvis. And remembering to breathe. We'll hold it for a full rounded breath here. Inhale and exhale. And then just gently release onto the mat, bending the knees and windshield wiper the legs from side to side. So that just helps us release any tension that may be held in the lower back and just letting that go. Pressing ourselves back into a downward facing dog. And then walking the feet through to the front of the mat. Coming into a seated pose, we'll take a wide leg forward fold here, so like a Pracitce. Bringing our legs out to either side and then lifting tall and beginning to fold forward at the waist. And grab onto the feet. It's fun to do these poses in a different plane and just notice how it feels a little bit different. Walking the hands back up the legs, sending the legs together, coming all the way onto our backs on the mat, and bending the knees and just windshield wiper the legs side to side. Any last remaining tension, letting it go. Arms can come out to the side like wings. We'll be taking a supine pigeon here. So taking our left ankle on top of the right knee and interlacing the hands behind the right thigh, drawing it closer to the body to get that nice stretch in the outer side of the left hip. And just being mindful of our knees. So if this bothers your knee, just try flexing the feet, or that right foot can drop to the earth. Just being very careful of our knees. Dropping the right foot to the earth. Arms come out like a letter T. We'll take the sole of the left foot all the way over to the floor on the right side of the mat into a supine twist. And gaze can be at the sky or over your left shoulder. Feel free to adjust that top leg in any way that gives you a nice stretch. It feel good to send the sole of the left foot over to that right wall. We'll come back through to center, uncross the legs, and take that on the other side. Right ankle on left thigh. Drawing the left leg in toward the body. Just being kind if this side doesn't feel the same. Making adjustments as needed. And that's what we do. Just make adjustments. See if you can use the breath to get a little bit better stretch for the body. Being mindful of not taking it too far. Releasing the hands, left foot comes to the earth, dropping the sole of the right foot over to the left side. And play with the gaze here. We'll come back through to center, dropping the sole of the right foot to meet the left, taking a bridge pose here. Arms come long at our sides, walking the heels back into the seat, pressing into the feet as we start to lift the hips off of the earth. It may feel good to come onto tippy toes, like Barbie feet. Releasing the hips back to the earth. Taking a Supta Baddha Konasana, bringing the knees wide and the soles of the feet together, and sending the arms overhead. Enjoying a cooling effect. Might want to sigh here. Might feel good. Bringing the soles of the feet to the earth and sending the right leg and left leg long. On the inhale, reaching overhead. And then bending the right knee, taking the peace fingers of the right hand and sending the sole of the right foot to the sky to get a hamstring stretch. Left arm can come out like a wing. And then sending the right leg over to the right side, opening the hip. It may feel good to bring the right hand on the inside of the thigh to support it. Coming back through center, and then switching the left hand on the outer side of the right thigh and dropping the right toes over to the left side of the mat. Back through to center, extend the right leg long next to the left, and notice how the right leg just feels longer now. Bending the left knee, taking the peace fingers on the left big toe, and sending the sole of the left foot toward the sky. Pulling it a little bit closer toward the head to get a little more stretch. And then beginning to drop it over to the left side, getting some opening in the hip. We started our class with a little bit of hip opening. So just enjoying that here as well. Coming back through to center and taking the leg over to the right side, perhaps taking the right hand to get a little bit more hip stretch. As you come back through to center, we'll take a happy baby pose here. You can grab onto the soles of the feet, the big toe, and just rock. And then I just encourage you to take any last poses that I maybe didn't offer you that you would like to do before we head to our final resting pose of Shavasana. Perhaps interlacing the hands, sending the arms behind you, legs long, and walking the arms over to either side of the mat. And then beginning to settle in for Shavasana. You can take a less traditional Shavasana if you want to. Take your legs up the wall, or butterfly your legs. Or perhaps kind of the more usual Shavasana, sending the legs out long, arms at your sides, palms up. And as you settle into this pose, starting to release any tension and doing a body scan, noticing how the shoulders feel. See if you can release any tension in the face or the arms. Letting your feet splay open and just enjoying these last few moments of rest. Worked hard. So taking a rest, I won't let you stay here all night. I'll awaken you later. Begin to bring your awareness back into your space. Just noticing how you feel. Starting some small movements, wiggling the fingers and the toes. Perhaps larger movements of circling the ankles and the wrists. And extending the arms long overhead, bending at the knees. Feeling some length. Feeling renewed, like you're waking up for a new day. And rolling over onto either side. And just pausing here, not being in a hurry. I have a Thomas Shadwell quote for you tonight, the English poet. He said, "Words may be false and full of art, but sighs are the natural language of the heart." So perhaps taking a sigh if it feels good here, and beginning to move the body to a seated position on the front of the mat. And bringing palms to touch at heart center. Taking a deep breath in, and we'll take a collective sigh, exhale, breathe it out. Taking another inhale and bowing forward from my heart to yours. Namaste. Namaste, everyone. Thanks for joining. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I hope to see you all again. Have a good night.